but we are going to be talking about the Oregon Ducks versus the Indiana Hoosiers. That's enough of me talking. Let's go into this press conference. This is from earlier today with some of the offensive players, including, as you just saw, Kenyon Sadiq and Dante Moore and others.
Kenyon Sadiq, second row, Eric.
Yes, Kenyon, can you take us back to the first meeting in October and kind of what you remembered there and maybe how that was beneficial for this team in terms of learning from a loss?
Yeah, kind of like there's one or two ways you can look at it. I think this year there's a lot of teams. You can look at Penn State, for instance, kind of how they handled the loss. And then you look at teams like us, for instance, how we bounced back against Rutgers. So I think that game kind of just, it really says a lot about our team and the maturity and the mindset we had after that game. I think it was good for us in a lot of ways, offensively, defensively, and I think we handled it in a very mature way.
Front row, James.
Since it's nearly 3 months ago from that game, Will had mentioned, a couple of guys mentioned after that, you were really limited in practice that week leading up to it. Just how much or how little did you even do before that game, and how different are you today physically than you were at that point 3 months ago?
Yeah, right. I was very limited on what I did, and I think that had an impact on my play and the feel for the offense, as a whole. So, this week I think it's important that I just, keep getting those reps in. So we're going to completely different offense, from that game. So, just important we come out there, start fast, play with good chemistry.
Left side, second row, John.
Last time you guys played them, you were still working out of 11 as your base personnel, but since then you've had to adapt. It's been you and Jamari as kind of the physical, being able to find that 12 personnel with the two tight ends. How do you think that plays out, just bringing that more physicality with those two tight ends out there?
Yeah, I think it allows us to do a lot of things. We don't just have to be in a physical, 12 personnel set. We can get in 10 and 11 sets as well. So I think that makes it a bit difficult for defenses to figure out what they want to do, whether they want to play in, nickel sets or base sets. So, it gives us a bit of flexibility in a lot of areas.
Back left, Aaron.
The offense kind of struggled in the first half to finish against Texas Tech. You guys were able to come back and have a better second half performance. But now after looking at the film, what are some ways that you're kind of focused on preparing for this next matchup and getting a little bit faster start and being able to finish in the red zone to put some more points on the board?
Yeah, it really comes down to the little things. If you watch the film, it's just like one missed block, that ends up, stopping the play. So, it's really just focused on the real technique. Texas Tech was really good players, and the same thing for Indiana. When it comes down to good on good, it's the little things like the technique. So, no, it's just honing in on those little details. It'll be the separator.
On the left, Eric.
I wanted to get your early thoughts on Kendra. I know he's only been here a really short time, but just to see him moving around and in practice, kind of what'd you see from him?
Yeah, he's done a good job. It's always nice to, come in early and get a little head start. But I know he's done a great job. It's nice getting to know him.
Front row, James.
Like you mentioned, with 12 personnel, that you can operate in different sets. We saw in this past game a little bit of 13, but it's not, I don't know how true a 13 it is, because Roger's built the way he is and you're built the way you are. What does he provide, not only as a potential receiver, as a tight end, but as a perimeter blocker, particularly when you guys lose a guy like Justice who was doing that role?
Yeah, like you said, we're able to do a lot of things in those sets. So I think it makes us, like I said, very flexible as an offense. When you get in those big sets, we're able to still run the ball. But, you saw like Minnesota, for example, we're really getting those 13 personnel sets and still throw, routes and stuff like that. So like I said, it just makes it more difficult to guard down the road.
Second row, John.
The defense that throws as many different looks as they do in terms of their pressures and stuff. How have you seen Dante grow as a leader for the offensive line, for the tight ends, everybody, in terms of setting the protections and being that kind of guy to make sure everyone's set as blockers?
Yeah, I think it's night and day. If you go watch our first Indiana game and you go back to this JMU, which ran a similar scheme, with pressures coming from just about everywhere. Dante just has a really mature mindset about it. Every week he comes in and attacks it, and everyone can see in the building. So, we all trust him. He's going to get us in the right play, the right check, whatever it is.
All the way in the back, Olivia.
This whole program really preaches that next man up mentality. How much more important does that become when it's the end of the season? Guys might be hurting, and then on top of that, you're dealing with the transfer portal.
Yeah, all those things play a role, whether you like it or not. So, it's just really about focusing on what we have here. Lanning says that about every day in practice. There's going to be someone that shows up that hasn't all season. And that's so true. So, there'll be someone this game that has a great game, but that just shows, once again, the depth of our roster, I think. Those guys that have left in the portal, guys are down for injury, and there's still going to be guys stepping up in just about everywhere. So, like I said, it just really shows the character, I think, of this team and the roster depth.
Front row, James.
They generate about as many TFLs as anybody in the country, and I think they had the most TFLs of any opponent against you guys. what is it that they do so effectively to be able to generate that pressure, not just in sacks, but yes, also in sacks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have great players. Then second to that, they have great schemes. So I mean, when you look at the stems they do, sim pressures, all those things, just even players winning their one-on-ones on the edges. Edges do a great job. So I think Tech was a good game for us. I think they're the best front in the country. So getting to look at those guys and head up to these guys, which is another great unit, I think it'll be good for us.
Second row, John.
Mentioned Tech being a good game for you, especially with their linebackers being two of the best in the country. Indiana is another team with really good linebackers. They're out there in a base personnel a lot. Just how do you think that Tech game is going to prepare you for facing those linebackers again, especially when it's you and Jamari out there now?
Yeah, like I said, really similar matchup for us. Tech's linebackers are amazing, and these linebackers are amazing as well. So I think it's just going back to the technique thing. When it comes down to good on good, it's really who has better technique and who wants it more.
Front row, James.
I want to mention that Dan had said something about teams in March Madness and how they peak at the right time. Just can you convey a little bit more about what that message was and what you took from that?
Yeah, it comes down who plays their best ball in November and December. Then leading into January now, how long the season is. But no, it's really you need to peak at the right time. You see a lot of teams, peak in the middle of the season or stuff like that, and then you kind of just trend downhill. But no, it's kind of about just staying on like the steady, climb up the mountain. So I think it's kind of preached on. I think we're doing a really good job of it.
We good? Thanks, Kenyon. Questions? Start right here in the second row with Eric.
I wonder if you could reflect back to the first game and just kind of what your lasting memories were from that and maybe how the defeat impacted this group psychologically.
We just didn't play up to our standard. As simple as that. We just got to come out, play our brand of football, and we'll take care of business.
Front row, James.
You're one of the few guys who was here at the very beginning 4 years ago and starting with Dan and this team, this program in this building. And I realize it's a very different situation compared to today, but how different a feeling is it last season when you guys had the success this season in a playoff game going there to the way things started in Atlanta 4 years ago?
I feel like, each year we just continue to grow. That's been the theme of the team since I've been here. And, I feel like Coach Lannon, has really held the standard that, each and every game year, we just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. So I feel like, yeah, that's just a result of, all those days of just continuing to get better and just growing, yeah.
In the back, Olivia.
You've had some history playing at Mercedes-Benz, whether it was when you were in high school or when you first transferred to Oregon. What does it mean to be not only back in your home state, but back in that stadium for this matchup?
It means a lot, going back to where it all started. I played my first big, I guess you can say football games that was televised in that stadium. So, yeah, it'll bring back some good memories for sure.
Second row, John.
You'd missed some games in the start of the season, and that Indiana game originally was one where you were still kind of coming back from that injury. How have you felt like you're just back to 100% and more ready for this game the second time around?
Just honestly, just continually to do treatment, just routine. I feel like in the beginning of the season, I got hurt at practice. I wasn't wearing my girdle. So, I wear my girdle now. So, yeah.
Row, James.
They generate about as many TFLs as any team in the country defensively. What is it about what they do that is able to generate that much pressure, whether it's in pass rush or getting after you guys in the backfield?
They do a lot of exotic pressures, sim pressures. They're a real disciplined defense. They're real good at what they do. And as far as up front, they do a lot of games. They do a lot of movement, stunts, twist games, and I feel like our O-line is going to handle that, and it won't be a problem.
Second row, Eric.
I'm going to ask about that. Your responsibility and the running backs in general in pass protection too, just because it can't just be the O-line, right? It has to be kind of everybody. How difficult is it when they are coming from a variety of different spots and sometimes it's unpredictable?
I feel like just being slow and getting out en route, making sure it's secure before you get out helps a lot. I mean, sometimes, they do a good job of disguising it. So sometimes it is you don't know where it's gonna come from, but if you're slow, you'll see it,
Front left, James.
We talked in the spring about how different things are for you in life compared to your younger teammates? When your fiance is traveling with your son amidst this whole deal and seeing her posting it, I'm sure you're aware of it when it's happening, but like when you see the videos thereafter,
Yeah.
like it's different, obviously, for her to be doing that.
hmm
What is that like? Like you're traveling on a plane with the rest of the guys and you're getting
Mhm.
that, but she's going through airports with an infant and doing all that deal. So what is that like to experience when it's the non-football stuff, the off the field stuff?
It's a great experience. Like when I'm with them traveling, or like her traveling alone, or just being a dad in general. I mean, it's a great experience. Like I come here, I show up, I grind, and then I get to go home to my family, who I'm very thankful for. It's not always easy. Like right now, my son, he kind of sick. So sleep is kind of non-existent. But who needs sleep? You know what I mean? But sure, like to just have those loved ones that you get to see after a long hard day at work. It just yeah.
We're going to go to the Zoom, Brenna.
I know it was, mentioned about you playing in Mercedes-Benz, and I know that there have been some difficult memories there in terms of how those state championship games went, in particular the first one. Just how motivated are you to kind of flip the script of games you've had in that stadium?
I mean, every game's a new game. I don't really, hold any past feelings going into games from recent games. Every game is a new game, so it's like I just want to win. I don't really care about my record in the stadium or past games that's happened. As long as we win this game, I'm gonna be happy.
Staying with the Zoom, Dan.
Noah, just what you can say about not only being in the backfield and the success that you've had, but with Davison, just the 1-2 punch. We saw it a lot in the last game against Texas Tech, just what it's like to be in the backfield and feed off each other.
Well, I mean, like I'm the vet. I feed off of just seeing my younger guys just have success. And they feed off me too. They always say you get us started, you get us going. Like we feed off you. So we feed off each other. Like sometimes I'm in games where the run's not hitting or I miss a hold. They're like, "Hey, bro, remember what you told me?" Like they'll tell me what I told them, and I'm like, "Damn, y'all sound like me. Like you coaching me up." So yeah, it's unique, man. It's special, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to, share this time with them because a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't get freshmen that get to come in and that's ready and that's as talented as these guys. And I'm just happy that I got the opportunity to share the backfield with them.
Brenna.
I just wanted to know how many ticket requests you've gotten this week.
I got a lot, but I mean, I'm not bad at saying no. My teammates were charging too much money for tickets this week, so I just chose to just be the bad guy. I mean, if you're not gonna like me over me not getting you a ticket to the game, then the love not genuine. So, but I got 10 so far. So yeah, that was my max.
Anything else? Anybody else? Oh, right over here. John on second row.
Just how important is the diversity that Coach Stein has in his run game when you're going into a rematch like this where they've seen your run game before?
I feel like football is universal. So I mean, we all run the same stuff. It's about how you go out there and execute it. And it's about physical dominance, honestly, in the run game. You gotta line up against the person you're going against and move them. It creates lanes. Like I mean, they gonna know what we're gonna run. We gonna know what they gonna run. It's about who's gonna out physical the opponent and stop it.
Back left, Aaron.
Now that you got a chance to kind of reflect on the last game, what do you feel like was the difference between that first half when the offense struggled to finish a little bit and the second half when you guys were able to get some stuff going?
I feel like that juice we brought into the locker room at halftime, that helped a lot. And just going into that second half, we were just all positive vibes on the sideline. Like I feel like that energy, that juice, that positive affirmation, like that's big and it's like real big for success, like for offense because you need so many things to go right. You need everybody to move on one accord. as far as defense, is you just need one person to make a play, you know. But when we do that and we having fun, we joking around and we just being ourselves, being the unique human beings that we are, you know, we go out there and we play to our standard, and yeah, we look different.
We good? Thanks, Noah. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Water for you if you want. First question goes to Eric on the left.
Hey, Dante, I'm curious on where the Orange Bowl offensive MVP trophy is and how if that was difficult getting that back at all.
Yeah. At first there was a video of me like caught in the moment. I didn't know they were announcing the MVPs and stuff. I was more engaged with the fans. But yeah, that trophy was super heavy. A lot of oranges, of course. But yeah, it was a great, great moment. As a kid, you dreamed about those things, and glad we got the win, and we're, carrying on to this week.
Front left, James.
You talked about how you made the regular season matchup more than what it was and didn't have as much joy. What has the last few days been like, and how have you carried yourself differently mentally approaching this one?
Yeah. Like you say, in the past, I talked about it. It was just made the game bigger than what it was. And this week, I kind of just attacked it like how I've been doing these past weeks. Making sure I have the same routine when it comes to, watching film, preparing my body, just getting ready for this moment, like I've been doing with, JMU and, Texas Tech. But yeah, this week, we're still the same offense. We're just, having fun. Of course, practice, we've been having, some little bit of mistakes, but that's what practice is all about. You got to learn from it. But yeah, Indiana's, a great competitive team, and we're just ready to go out there, play football. It's 11-11 at the end of the day, and we're excited for it.
Second row left, John.
Kenyon was just in here saying that he's been impressed by your growth as a leader for the blocking unit when it comes to setting protections and stuff like that after that first game. Just how have you seen yourself continue to develop in the pre-snap stuff and getting everything set, especially when you're going against a defense that's going to throw as much stuff as they do?
Yeah, I got to give, their DC and, the 11 guys on defense their credit. They do a great job bringing multiple different pressures, showing different looks, pre-snap and then going post-snap. So yeah, just kind of just watching the film. At the end of the day, of course, they might throw something new out there. It's just how game plans work, and they might get us on it. And then that's when you go to the sideline and watch the film and see we can go from there and just learn from it. So at the end of the day, I've been just, taking these protections and these, run game things important. At the end of the day, you got to protect yourself, you got to protect your body. If I had to give a quarterback tip, for any incoming freshmen, I'll say learn protections first, because at the end of the day, everybody can spin the ball, but you can't spin the ball while you're on your back. So you got to make sure that you get the protections right. And I've been kind of taking that more seriously, just understanding, body health and making sure that, we can move the ball and keep moving the chains.
Right next to him, Eric.
What did you take away? What were you taught from the first game with Indiana, and how valuable could those lessons be in a rematch?
Yeah, I was too fast on progressions. There was some times where there was an open guy, and you can say I was kind of seeing ghosts out there. It was more of just trying to get through my progressions too fast. And another thing too is when I climb into the pocket, I tend to, I was trying to rush and get out. And there were some times where I can climb into the pocket and there was no need for me to move. So those are probably the two biggest things. Just gotta, learn from there. But yeah, I'm feeling real confident and excited.
Back right, back here, Aaron.
Just in that first half against Texas Tech, you guys were able to move the chains, but just couldn't finish in the end zone. Just what have you maybe done in preparation for this semifinal matchup to kind of improve that and improve the finishing?
Yeah, gotta love our kicker Atticus. He does a great job making kicks, and yeah, as a quarterback, of course, you want to get the ball in the end zone. You want to score touchdowns, put points up. But yeah, Texas Tech defense was amazing. They did a great job, of course, stopping us on short runs. They just had a great game plan, and at the end of the day, of course, we beat ourselves sometimes. We shot ourselves in the foot, and we kind of got to learn from there and just go from there. So, we had a lot of mistakes that's corrected this week, and we're excited to put points on the board.
Front left, James.
A couple of guys have mentioned that Coach Lanning cited March Madness and the way teams peak at that time and how key that is at this time. What have you taken from that message, and can you share a little bit more of the detail of what he was saying?
Yeah, Coach Lanning does a great job preparing us. That's somebody that,
Yes, quarterbacks don't play against each other, but it's awfully built that way. And depending on what you choose to do, there's going to be a captive audience of NFL fans paying attention to you too. How do you mentally prepare for and head into when so much of it's going to be about you and Fernando and how you do against each other and who's ahead of who on whose draft board, depending on what you do and all those sorts of things?
Yeah, I mean, I got to give Fernando his credit. I mean, he's had a hell of a year. He's had some great years. This is our third time playing against each other. He played at UCLA this year, and then it's our third time. And he's somebody that works his tail off. A very smart quarterback, talented quarterback. But I think the biggest
Recording in
thing that I
progress.
take away from him is just he gives the glory to God through his success, through his accolades, through his wins. He always gives time to glorify God, and that's something I appreciate and respect towards him. But yeah, it's things that of course we prayed for. I mean, at the end of the day, when I started football at 4 years old, everybody's goal is to get to the National Football League. But yeah, there's gonna be all these things going on. I'm human. I see it on social media, but I told myself that I shouldn't be engaged with it because if I do, I'm thinking about myself and I'm not thinking about the 10 other guys on the field with me. So I got to make sure that I give them my 100% love and attention because without them, I wouldn't be in my situation I'm in now. So I'm thankful for my teammates and it's gonna be a great game. And when I see Fernando again, we talk after the game. Whatever we do, I mean, I'm just glad I got to play against him.
We're going to go to the Zoom, and for those of you on the Zoom who dropped out for a while there, what you missed will be in the Dropbox, so you can go back and check that out. We'll go to Dan.
Dante, a two-part, you just brought up your faith and how important that is to you. Just what you can say about how your faith guides you and why you keep God first. And then secondly, just how you've seen your game from game one to where you are right now, just how you've evolved as a quarterback and as a leader and how you've seen that be tangible.
Yeah, got to give, of course, all glory to God. He's blessed us. I mean, everybody in this room. He's blessed his team. He's blessed just just myself, just the talents, my journey. There's been many times where I wanted to quit, but of course, I got to respect and appreciate God's time and understand I have my faith in Him. But yeah, I mean, playing against Indiana, of course, the first time. Of course, we didn't get the result we wanted, but with this time, of course, we watched the film. We're going to adjust and make some things, and I'm excited for that game and get going.
We're going to go to James in the front left.
Just mentioned about guys going in the portal at this time, Dante, and coaches have talked a lot about how the calendar's so messed up and what changes that. It's also awkward at times for you as well because you have a draft decision and the portal's open. And what does the future of this program do, depending on what you, all this. From a player's perspective, what could be done better or what adjustments need to be made so that there's less stress on guys like you with those decisions? Or when some of your teammates are thinking about the portal, but you have a different academic calendar than some teams who they don't have a decision until next week after a semifinal. So what, from a player's perspective, to somebody who's gone through it and is going through it now, has to change to make this just better, to where your OC isn't in Lexington for a couple of days, to where you're going up against it, to where program's not up against it, to where teams playing for a championship can focus on a championship?
Yeah, this whole process it's crazy. Of course, when I hit the portal, I knew where I was going right away. And of course, I was in a different situation. Like I wasn't in the playoffs. I was at UCLA. I wasn't, getting ready for that moment. But yeah, it's a lot that comes with it. I don't really have much to say about it because I mean, I don't want everyone to think about it, But yeah, there can be a way we can fix it. I think Coach Landon, I've been saying, in his past interviews, different ways to change it. So whatever Coach Landon says, I agree. So I don't know what else to say.
On the left, John.
You guys have found a bit of a different identity on offense since that first game, just going from base 11 to base 12 as you had to adapt to the receiver injuries. Just the plays are a lot of the same stuff because Kenyon and Jamari can do special things at tight end. But how do you think that just presents a different matchup for Indiana to deal with, especially when they're a team that likes to play three linebackers out there a lot?
Yeah, Indiana's linebackers, of course, are very talented. Of course, we have different personnel matches. But yeah, I mean, this whole year we've been finding different ways to become a successful offense, and Coach Stein, of course, does a great job just making multiple plays with different personnels and things of that nature. But yeah, we're excited. Yeah, everybody's feeling healthy. Everybody's ready to get going, and we're going to see what happens.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Dante.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Appreciate that.
All right, let's open it up to questions for Isaiah. Start right here on the second row with Eric.
I'm just curious on having faced Indiana once before, kind of what is it that makes them so difficult to, in protections in particular, to stop?
That's a good question. Thing like we already went over before. They got a good coach over there. Good program. A lot of dudes with the like mindset as we have, but they got a lot of stuff. You know, they got a good stout defense. Multiple different coverages they play out of. It's just a lot of looks that we have to account for, and it's just we need to make sure we are all on the same page as far as our communication and stuff. That's what hindered us last time. So,
second row, John.
Mentioned that communication. Have you seen Dante, especially as a leader for that O-line room, step up with that communication since that first game and just really set everybody to make sure you're sliding the right way and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like you said, Dante, we definitely had a lot of things we could have improved on that last game. Like Coach Lanning said, we a new team and they're a new team as well. So it was just taking the next step as far as just getting better and making sure we're all on the same page. We do our weekly protection meeting so we can make sure like we all have the same thought pattern and just anything else we could do to get the edge.
In the second row, Eric.
What did the first game kind of maybe mean to you personally, and kind of what lessons did you learn that are maybe valuable in the rematch this week?
Yeah, it definitely hurt. Feeling that the pain of the loss, definitely in like we in Austin Stadium. So I think just knowing and recognizing that that pain and what we did that wasn't good to make us lose, and just going and correcting and doubling down on our process, and just going back to the haystack.
Questions? James, front row.
Touch on a little bit, but what do they do that is that difficult, Isaiah? Like, because a whole bunch of defenses run simulated pressures. Y'all run simulated pressures,
Right?
But they generate more TFLs almost than anyone in the country. So everybody goes about preparing for this, and yet they still manage to have success. So is it just they show a variety of looks? Do they show a lot out of the same look, and it's just hard to know what they're doing? What is it that makes them so successful?
Yeah, like I said before, they got a good group of guys, so that definitely makes it hard. Number 4, their linebacker, I learned that this week he has the free for all to go give the defense new calls and stuff. So sometimes they check to match our personnel, or they match anything we do. They check when we check, and they do anything to get the most advantageous look for their defense. So it's just trying to find those little keys and stuff that they do, like even just I know, like I just already said it earlier, but a lot of it is just communication and making sure we're all on the same page. Because with all the variety, we all have to be on the same page. I mean, it's not hard. It's just playing with effort and then just playing harder, longer than the whistle than they are.
Anything else? Anybody on the Zoom? All right. Thanks, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.